Hi, my name is Corey Biazzo, and I'm a practicing American civil litigation attorney, and you are watching Executive Coup. In today's episode, we're going to discuss President Trump's concerning nomination of his former criminal defense attorney, Emil Bove III, to be appointed as an appellate judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. As you may be aware, the U.S. Third Circuit Court of Appeals has jurisdiction over the federal cases that are appealed from federal trial level courts in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The court sits in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Decisions from the court are typically issued by 3 judge panels. Mr. Bove appears on the surface to have had a pretty standard litigator career path after graduating from Georgetown Law with the judicial clerkship, private practice experience, and serving as a federal prosecutor for 9 years in the U.S. Southern District of New York. However, according to Politico, Mr. Bove faced internal DOJ criticism in 2020 for his management style, where an internal inquiry recommended his demotion. Additionally, Mr. Bove has never served as a trial court judge, let alone an appellate judge. Mr. Bove then left the DOJ in 2021 and made his way to Blanche Law in September 2023 when he defended President Trump in the New York hush money trial and DOJ Special Counsel Jack Smith's prosecutions of President Trump in the cases related to President Trump's criminal activity in the 2020 presidential election and criminal possession of classified documents at his Palm Beach, Florida home, which these cases never went to trial because President Trump won the last presidential election. In President Trump's second term, Mr. Bove was appointed as Associate Deputy Attorney General, and from January through March 2025, he served as the acting Deputy Attorney General under Attorney General Pam Bondi. In these roles, Mr. Bove attempted to have the New York City Mayor Eric Adams' corruption prosecution dismissed without prejudice, which would have allowed the DOJ to indict Mayor Adams again on corruption charges if he, for example, did not use New York City authorities as the mayor to assist ICE in their current immigration crackdown. Fortunately, the presiding judge of that case only permitted dismissal with prejudice where the DOJ could not again bring the charges after it had dismissed it and use it as a leverage tool. This seems to be an unprecedented action by the U.S. Department of Justice. Mr. Bove is alleged to have been involved in discussions about defying court orders in the Judge Boasberg case out of the Federal District Court of the District of Columbia, which we discussed in episode 13, according to a whistleblower complaint by former decorated DOJ prosecutor Erez Ruvani, who was fired by the Department of Justice this year after admitting that the Trump administration had mistakenly and unlawfully deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia as discussed in episodes 3, 12, 22, and 27. It's alleged that Mr. Bove suggested that the Department of Justice needed to tell Judge Boasberg, "fuck you," in regards to the judge ordering that the Trump administration turn planes around that were en route with people netted up in President Trump's unlawful invocation of the Alien Enemies Act as discussed in episodes 5 and 13 on planes that were heading to El Salvador and that the planes needed to turn around. Bove is also alleged to have stated that those planes needed to go, and supposedly he did not disseminate an oral order from Judge Boasberg that the planes needed to turn around prior to Judge Boasberg's issuance of his later written order. This led to the famous inquiry by Senator Adam Schiff in Mr. Bove's Senate Judiciary hearing confirmation for the current role on the 3rd District Court of Appeals.
Oath. In the complaint, it says, Bove stated that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignoring any such court order. Did you say anything of that kind in the meeting?
Senator, I have no recollection of saying anything of that kind. To the extent I
Wouldn't you recall, Mr. Bove, if you said or suggested during a meeting with Justice Department lawyers that maybe they should consider telling the court, fuck you? It seems to me that would be something you'd remember, unless that's the kind of thing you say frequently.
Well, I've certainly said things encouraging litigators at the department to fight hard for valid positions that we have to take in defense of our clients.
And have you frequently suggested that they say fuck you and ignore court orders? Is that also something you frequently do, such you might not remember doing it on this occasion?
No, and as I explained, I have never directed...
So did you or did you not make those comments during that meeting?
Which comments, Senator?
You really need me to repeat it? Did you suggest, as Mr. Ruvani wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such court order?
I did not suggest that there would be any need to consider ignoring court orders. At the point of that meeting, there were no court orders to discuss.
Well, did you suggest telling the courts, fuck you, in any manner?
I don't recall.
You just don't remember that.
President Trump has selected Mr. Bove for the bench in accordance with the U.S. Constitution's Article 2, Section 2, which states in part, quote, "The President shall have the power to nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint judges." The Senate, on July 22nd, 2025, narrowly voted 50 to 48 to begin considering Mr. Bove for the lifetime judicial appointment. The Senate will need all Democrats and at least 3 Republicans to block Mr. Bove's appointment to the bench. President Trump's selection of Bove appears to get another highly friendly judge like Judge Eileen Cannon in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. The strategy appears to get another friendly judge like that to rubber stamp President Trump's illegal activity from the judiciary. While we appear to be in another unprecedented moment, stay positive and keep speaking truth to power and make lawful constituent communications to your representatives in the U.S. Senate. Put the fear of losing their next elections in them if they vote to advance Bove's nomination for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench. It should be obvious that based on his alleged conduct at the DOJ since President Trump began his second term, that Mr. Bove lacks the requisite character to serve as a federal judge. Keep following Executive Coup for further updates on this matter and others related to the apparent executive coup attempt that is unfolding in the U.S. federal government at the direction of President Donald J. Trump. Thank you.